Captain Do-Hyun Kim stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Fleet ship Vigilant. His dark eyes watched the main screen where the alien ship grew larger by the minute. It was beautiful in a strange way, smooth and curved like a water drop, glowing, with soft blue light. The ship had no visible weapons, no sharp edges, nothing that looked dangerous. "Maintain distance at 5,000 kilometers, Do-Hyun ordered. His voice was calm, but his hand rested near the emergency weapons control. 20 years in space had taught him that beautiful things could still be deadly. "Yes, Captain," said the pilot, a young woman named Minji Park. Her fingers moved across the control panel with quick, sure movements. This was a historic moment. After 200 years of searching the stars, humans had finally found proof they were not alone. The alien ship had appeared at the edge of the solar system 3 days ago. It had sent a simple message in perfect English. "We come in peace and friendship." Too perfect, Do-Hyun thought. How did they learn our language so well? The communication screen lit up. "Captain, they're calling us again," said Communications Officer Han. Do-Hyun straightened his uniform. "Put them through." The screen filled with the image of an alien. It had pale blue skin that seemed to shine with its own light. Its eyes were large and dark, with no whites, like pools of ink. It had no nose, just 2 small breathing slits, and its mouth was a thin line. It had no hair, and its head was slightly too large for its thin body. "Greetings, Captain Kim of Earth," the alien said. Its voice was musical, like water flowing over stones. "I am Ambassador Telsek of the Arivian Collective. We are honored to make your acquaintance." Do-Hyun felt a chill run down his spine. He hadn't told them his name. "How do you know who I am?" he asked. The alien made a gesture that might have been a smile. "We have been observing your transmissions for some time. We wanted to learn your languages and customs before making contact. We hope this was not offensive." Commander Sun-Woo Lee stood beside Do-Hyun. He was the military advisor to the diplomatic team, a man who had fought in the Mars conflict and survived 3 ship crashes. He leaned close to Do-Hyun's ear. "They've been watching us," he whispered. "For how long? And what else do they know?" Do-Hyun nodded slightly. "It was a good question." "We welcome you to our solar system, Ambassador Telsek," Do-Hyun said carefully. "But you understand that we must be cautious. We've never met beings from another world before." "Of course," said Telsek. "Caution is wise. We would be happy to meet with your leaders in a way that makes you comfortable. Perhaps a small delegation on your ship? We can bring gifts of knowledge and technology." Do-Hyun looked at Dr. Jia Yoon, the lead scientist. She was practically bouncing with excitement. "Ambassador," Do-Hyun said, "we would be honored to welcome you aboard. Please understand that we will need to take security measures." "We understand completely," Telsek said. "We will arrive in a small shuttle with only 3 representatives. You may scan us for weapons or dangerous materials. We have nothing to hide." After the communication ended, Do-Hyun called a meeting of his senior staff. "Thoughts?" he asked. "They seem peaceful," said Dr. Yoon. "This could be the greatest scientific opportunity in human history." "They're too calm," said Commander. "Too perfect. No nervousness at meeting a new species, no cultural confusion. They speak our language better than some humans. It feels wrong." "Maybe they're just more advanced," argued Dr. Yoon. "They've probably done this before with other species." Do-Hyun frowned. "That's what worries me. If they've done this before, what happened to those other species?" 6 hours later, the Arivian shuttle docked with the Vigilant. Security teams lined the hallway to the meeting room. They wore full body armor and carried stun weapons. Do-Hyun had ordered no lethal weapons, not wanting to seem hostile, but he made sure each guard had a sidearm hidden under their armor, just in case. The airlock door opened with a soft hiss. 3 Arivians glided into the ship. They moved with strange grace, as if they weighed nothing. Up close, their skin was even more beautiful. It shifted colors slightly as they moved, like oil on water. "Welcome to the EDF Vigilant," Do-Hyun said, stepping forward. "I am Captain Do-Hyun Kim." "We are honored," said the middle Arivian, who Do-hyun recognized as Telsek. These are my associates, Science Liaison Morel and Cultural Observer Venik. The Arivians made a gesture, placing their right hands over where Do-hyun guessed their hearts would be, then extending the hand palm up. Please, lead us to where we will talk, Telsek said. We are eager to begin building friendship between our peoples. As they walked through the ship, Do-hyun noticed how the Arivians looked at everything with great interest. Their large eyes missed nothing. They seemed especially interested in the guards, studying their stance and equipment with careful attention. In the meeting room, Earth's best diplomats waited with scientists and military advisors. The head of the diplomatic team was Ambassador Jin Hana, a woman known for her sharp mind and sharper tongue. Welcome to the first official meeting between Earth and the Arivian Collective, she said after introductions were made. This is a historic moment for humanity. And for us as well, said Telsek. Your species is quite fascinating. How so? Asked Jin. You have advanced remarkably quickly, said Telsek. Most species take thousands of years to develop space travel. After discovering basic science, you have done it in mere centuries. Dr. Yoon leaned forward eagerly. Can you tell us about your technology? Your ship seems to use a propulsion system we've never seen before. We would be happy to share some of our scientific knowledge, said the Arivian called Morel. Your understanding of physics is quite good, though incomplete. Incomplete how? Asked Dr. Yoon. You view space and time as separate things that can be bent together, said Merrill. This is a useful starting point, but reality is more complex. We do not push against space to move. We simply exist more strongly in one place and less in another. The meeting continued for hours. The Arivians answered questions about their society, their biology, and their technology. They were careful not to give specific details about weapons or defenses, which Do-hyun thought was sensible. They spoke of a galactic community of intelligent species, all living in peace and cooperation. How many other species are in this community? Asked Jin. 27 so far, said Telsek. Each brings unique perspectives and abilities. We believe that Earth would be a valuable addition. What no human noticed were the tiny devices the Arivians carried. Hidden in their strange clothes, these machines scanned human biology, recorded human responses, and analyzed threat potential. The devices measured heart rates, hormone levels, muscle tension, and brain activity patterns. What the devices found was troubling to the Arivians, though they showed no sign of it. Humans had faster reaction times than any species they had encountered before. Human bodies could repair damage that would kill most beings. Humans could function despite pain that would paralyze others. Human fight-or-flight responses activated in microseconds. Most concerning of all, humans had evolved as predators. Every other species in the galactic community had evolved as prey animals. They had developed intelligence to avoid being eaten. Humans had developed intelligence to become better hunters. As the meeting ended, Commander Lee approached Do-hyun again. They're too calm, he whispered, like they've done this hundreds of times before. Do-hyun nodded slowly. I know. And did. You notice? They answered every question, but somehow told us almost nothing of substance. What do you think they really want? Asked Lee. Do-hyun looked at the Arivians as they prepared to return to their shuttle. They were speaking among themselves, in their own language, a series of musical tones and clicks. I don't know, said Do-hyun, but I intend to find out. What he didn't know was that the Arivians were already making plans, not for friendship, but for something else entirely. The apex predator analysis is complete, Venik said quietly in their language. Threat level, extreme. Containment protocols are advised. Agreed, said Telsek. Begin preparations. This species cannot be allowed to spread among the stars unchecked. 6 months passed since first contact with the Arivians. In that time, the aliens had shared some of their technology with Earth. Better ways to grow food, cleaner ways to make energy, and medicines that could cure diseases humans had fought for centuries. They seemed like perfect friends. Captain Do-hyun Kim sat in his office on the Vigilant reviewing reports. Since the first meeting, Earth's governments had formed a united front to deal with the aliens. The United Earth Council had been created, with representatives from every nation. His screen lit up with an incoming call. It was Ambassador Jin Hana. "Captain Kim," she said. Her face was excited. "Great news. The Arivians have just extended an official invitation. They want Earth to join something called the Galactic Concordat." "What's that?" Do-hyun asked. "A union of all 27 spacefaring species," she explained. "They've invited a delegation to tour key Concordat worlds. They say it's the first step toward full membership." Do-hyun frowned slightly. "That sounds like a big commitment. What do we know about these other species?" "Not much," Jin admitted. "The Arivians have told us stories, shown us images, but we haven't met any others yet." "Don't you find that strange?" Do-hyun asked. "Why keep us separate from the others for so long?" Jin sighed. "Always suspicious, Captain. The Arivians say they wanted to prepare us to make sure we wouldn't be overwhelmed, and now they have. This is the opportunity of a lifetime." "Who will go on this tour?" Do-hyun asked. "I've been appointed to lead the delegation," Jin said proudly. "We'll have scientists, diplomats, and a small security team. The council has requested that you stay with the Vigilant, just in case." "Just in case what?" Do-hyun wondered. But he nodded. "Who's handling security?" "Colonel Hyejin Kang," Jin said. Do-hyun relaxed a little. Hyejin was a good choice. She had fought in the Mars conflict, where Earth's two biggest nations had nearly started a war over mining rights. She was smart, careful, and always had backup plans for her backup plans. "When do you leave?" he asked. "In 2 weeks," Jin said. "An Arivian ship is coming to pick us up." 2 weeks later, Do-hyun stood in the launch bay of the Vigilant, saying, "Goodbye to the delegation." 20 people had been chosen, the best minds on Earth, they said. Dr. Jia Yoon was among them, her eyes bright with excitement. "Take care of each other," Do-hyun told them. "And remember, you represent all of humanity now." Colonel Hyejin Kang stood to one side, checking her team's equipment one last time. She had chosen 5 security officers, all veterans. They wore simple uniforms with small weapons. The Arivians had requested no heavy arms. "Ready, Colonel?" Do-hyun asked. Hyejin nodded. "As ready as we can be." She lowered her voice. "I've given each team member special training. If we get separated, each of us knows how to survive and, if necessary, get home." Do-hyun nodded. "Good thinking. I hope you won't need it." The Arivian ship arrived right on time. It was much larger than the vessel from first contact, a massive structure that looked like a city in space. It glowed with the same soft blue light, curves and spirals making it look like something grown rather than built. A shuttle detached from the giant ship and docked with the Vigilant. Ambassador Telsek glided out along with 2 other Arivians. "Welcome, friends," Telsek said. "Your quarters are prepared. You will find them most comfortable." The delegation boarded the shuttle with their bags. Dr. Junho Bai, the xenobiologist, couldn't stop staring at the shuttle's interior. The walls seemed alive, changing color slightly as they watched. "Is this growing?" he asked one of the Arivians. "In a manner of speaking," the alien replied. "Our technology blends the living and the non-living. It adapts to needs and repairs itself." The shuttle journey to the main ship took only minutes. When they docked and the doors opened, the humans gasped. The inside of the Arivian vessel was like a paradise. Gardens with strange plants stretched as far as they could see. Water flowed in streams and fountains. The air smelled sweet and clean. "This is the central garden," Telsek explained. "Each species in the Concordat has contributed plants from their homeworld. We hope to add Earth specimens soon." "It's beautiful," whispered Dr. Yoon. Telsek led them through the ship. "The Concordat vessel Harmony will be your home for the next 3 months as we visit key worlds. Your living area has been designed to match Earth conditions exactly." The human quarters were indeed perfect. The gravity felt just like Earth's, the air was the same, and the rooms were built to human proportions. Everything from the beds to the food preparation areas seemed custom-made for them. "You've studied us very well," Yejin said, running her hand along a doorway that was exactly the right height. "We believe in making our guests comfortable," Telsek said with a gesture that might have been a smile. After the humans settled in, Telsek invited them to a welcome dinner. The dining hall was enormous, with different sections set at different heights and with different environments. Each species has unique eating customs, Telsek explained. The Varroks, for example, eat while floating. The Nith must keep their food in special solutions. The food prepared for the humans looked and smelled like earth food, though with slight differences in color and texture. "Is this real meat?" asked Junho, examining a piece of what looked like steak. "It is protein-structured, to match what you call beef," Telsek said. "We find that most species prefer familiar tastes while traveling." After dinner, the humans were shown the ship's facilities, research labs, exercise areas, entertainment centers, all adapted for different species' needs. "You'll have access to our knowledge databases," Telsek told them, though some are restricted to full Concordat members. "How long will it take for Earth to become a full member?" asked Jin. "That depends," said Telsek. "Most species undergo a probationary period of several Earth years, but things may move faster for humans. You are unique." The way he said unique made Hijin look up sharply. There was something in his tone, something like worry or perhaps fear. That night, while most of the delegation slept, Hijin met with her security team in her quarters. "Initial impressions?" she asked. "They're very accommodating," said Officer Taehyun Ryu. "Everything is perfect, almost too perfect." "I noticed something strange," said Officer Yuna Choi. "When I was exercising earlier, one of the Arivians was watching me. When I started running faster, it backed away, almost like it was afraid." "Afraid of what?" asked Taehyun. "We're smaller than they are." "But stronger," said Yunha. "I think we're physically stronger than they expected." Hyejin nodded slowly. "Keep your eyes open, note anything unusual, and remember your training." As the huge Arivian ship left Earth's solar system, none of the humans noticed the small fleet of Arivian vessels moving into positions around Earth. These ships were different from the one carrying the delegation, darker, with sharp angles, and what looked very much like weapon systems. The lead ship, the Preserver, took up position just outside Earth's detection range. Its captain, Senior Monitor Velik, opened a secure channel to the Arivian homeworld. "Phase 1 is complete," he reported. "The Apex Predator representatives have been separated from their home planet. Containment fleet is in position." "Excellent," came the reply. "Begin Phase 2. Deploy the atmospheric probes." Thousands of tiny objects, no bigger than dust particles, were released from the Arivian ships. They drifted toward Earth, carried by solar winds, too small to be detected by human scanners. "What are the probe's findings on human biological weaknesses?" asked Velik. "Analysis continues," said his science officer. "Humans are surprisingly resilient. They can survive temperature ranges that would kill most species. Their bodies fight off diseases with remarkable efficiency. Even their sleep cycles are efficient. They need rest for only a third of each day cycle." "A dangerous species indeed," murmured Velik. The Concordat was wise to order containment. Back on the Harmony, Yunho Bei couldn't sleep. Something had been bothering him since dinner. The way the Arivians had arranged the food, the careful separation of species. It reminded him of something. He sat up in bed and activated his personal computer. "Computer, show me all information about Arivian biology," he said quietly. Screen filled with data. As he read, his eyes grew wider. The Arivians were herbivores. In fact, all the species mentioned in the database were plant eaters or filter feeders, not a single predator species among them. "That's strange," he whispered to himself. "What are the odds of that?" He didn't know it yet, but he had stumbled upon the first clue to a truth that would change everything. 3 weeks had passed since the human delegation left Earth. The Arivian ship Harmony traveled faster than any human vessel, moving through space in ways that Dr. Jia Yun was still trying to understand. It's like they fold space, she explained to Junho during breakfast. They don't move through space, they bring their destination closer. Junho nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. Since his discovery that all concordate species were plant-eaters, he had been quietly researching in the HFY ship's database. The Arivians had given the humans access to information about all member species, their home planets, and their histories. Gia, he said quietly, have you noticed something strange about all the concordate species? You mean besides having tentacles? Or 6 eyes, she joked. I'm serious, Junho said. Look at their evolutionary histories. Every single one evolved as a prey animal on their home planet. Gia frowned. That can't be right. What are the odds? Exactly, said Junho. It's statistically impossible unless... Unless what? Unless it's by design, Junho whispered. Unless predator species are kept out. Their conversation was interrupted by an announcement over the ship's communication system. Ambassador Telsek's musical voice filled the room. Honored guests from Earth, we will arrive at the Concordate Council world in 6 hours. You are invited to attend a special council meeting as observers. This is a rare honor for a potential member species. The human delegation spent the next hours preparing. They wore their best clothes and reviewed what they knew about concordate protocols. Ambassador Jin Hana was especially nervous. This is the most important diplomatic meeting in human history, she told Colonel Hyejin as they walked to the shuttle bay. We need to make a good impression. Hyejin nodded, but her eyes constantly scanned their surroundings. She had posted her security team at strategic points throughout the human quarters. Something felt wrong to her. A soldier's instinct for danger. The shuttle took them down to a beautiful planet. From space, it looked like a blue-green jewel with swirling white clouds. The landing area was a vast platform surrounded by towering buildings that seemed to be made of crystal and living plants grown into shapes. Welcome to Harmonia, the Concordate Council world, said Telsek. Representatives from all 27 member species gather here to make decisions that affect the galaxy. The council chamber was enormous. It was shaped like a bowl, with seats arranged in circles. Each section was designed differently to accommodate the various species. Some seats were in water tanks, others had special atmosphere bubbles. Some were on the ceiling, for species that preferred to hang upside down. The humans were given seats in the center, the place of honor for guests. As they settled in, other aliens began to arrive. The diversity was breathtaking. Some floated in on anti-gravity platforms, others crawled or slithered. Some had too many limbs to count. It's amazing, whispered Jin. So many different forms of life, all working together. Junho wasn't listening. He was watching how the species interacted. There was something familiar in their movements, the way they kept distance from each other, the quick, nervous glances, the tendency to freeze when surprised. It reminded him of rabbits and deer from Earth, prey animals always on the lookout for danger. The council session began with speeches welcoming the humans. Different concordate representatives spoke about peace, cooperation, and shared prosperity. The humans were invited to ask questions. Jin asked about trade policies. Gia asked about scientific cooperation. But when it was Junho's turn, he asked something different. How does the concordate decide which species to invite as members? There was a moment of silence. The Arivian leader, head counselor Zevin, answered carefully. We look for species that have achieved space travel and show potential for peaceful cooperation. Have you ever rejected a species? Junho pressed. Another silence, longer this time. Some species are not compatible with our values, Zevin said finally. After the session, the humans were given a tour of the council buildings. Junho slipped away from the main group and found a public information terminal. Using the access codes they had been given, he searched for data on species rejection. The computer wouldn't give him direct answers, but he found references to containment protocols and quarantine procedures. One document mentioned Apex, predator management. That night he shared his findings with Hyejin in her quarters. He had come to trust the colonel's judgment. Look at this, he said, showing her biological data on his tablet. Every concordate species evolved running away from predators. They developed intelligence to hide, to build tools for defense, to work together for protection. And humans? Hyejin asked. We evolved as predators, Junho explained. Our forward-facing eyes, our ability to track moving objects, our endurance. For long-distance hunting, we're built to chase and catch prey, Hyejin frowned. You think they see us as dangerous because of our biology? I think they're terrified of us, Junho said, and I think we're not the first predator species they've encountered. He pulled up another screen showing what looked like classified signal codes. How did you get this? Hyejin asked sharply. I built a small decoder, Junho admitted. I was curious about their encrypted communications. That could be seen as espionage, Hyejin warned. I know, but look at these message headers from the ship to the Arivian homeworld. Containment protocols, neutralization methods, Earth quarantine proposals. Hyejin's face darkened. You think this tour is a trap? I think they're studying us, Junho said. Learning our weaknesses. They brought us here to assess the threat we pose. To them, we've shown no aggression. Not because of what we've done, Junho explained. Because of what we are. The next morning, Colonel Hyejin gathered her security team for what looked like a routine exercise session. As they ran through combat drills, she quietly briefed them on Junho's discoveries. From now on, we operate under the assumption that we are in potentially hostile territory, she told them. No one goes anywhere alone. Each of you will carry emergency beacon implants. If we get separated, activate it and the others will find you. What about the rest of the delegation? Asked Officer Taehyun. We tell Ambassador Jin, Hyejin decided. But carefully. She's still optimistic about the Concordat. When Hyejin tried to speak with Jin, however, the ambassador was dismissive. Conspiracy theories, Colonel? I expected better from you, Jin said. The Concordat has shared incredible knowledge with us. They're offering us the stars. Then why are they sending secret messages about Earth quarantine? Hyejin asked. Jin's face hardened. I don't know where you got that information, but I will not let paranoia ruin this historic opportunity. That's an order, Colonel. Meanwhile, on the bridge of the Harmony, Telsec met with the ship's captain. They spoke in their native language, a series of musical tones impossible for human vocal cords to reproduce. The apex predator named Junho is becoming problematic, Telsec said. He asks too many questions. His neural patterns show unusual analytical abilities. And the security female, Hyejin, added the captain. Physical tests show she exceeds all projected human strength and reflex parameters. She is building unit cohesion among the security team. Has the decision been made? Telsec asked. The captain made a gesture of affirmation. The High Council voted last night. Humans are classified as a Category 1 threat species, too dangerous to be allowed unrestricted space travel, and the delegation will be contained for study, the captain said. The ship is already changing course for the research facility on Corvus. And Earth? Phase 2, atmospheric seeding continues. The process will take generations, but eventually, Earth's surface will become uninhabitable for humans, while perfect for Arivian colonization. Neither of them noticed Officer Yuna Choi hidden in an air circulation shaft above them. She couldn't understand their language, but she had been recording the conversation with a device Junho had built. She slipped away silently, heading back, to report to Hyejin. The next morning, the humans awoke to find the view outside their windows had changed. The stars were in different positions. They were no longer heading toward the next Concordat world on their tour. We've changed course, Gia announced after checking her instruments. We're heading toward a star system that wasn't on our itinerary. When Jin demanded an explanation, Telsec arrived with a squad of what were clearly security drones, floating metal spheres with multiple appendages. I regret that plans have changed, Telsec said. His voice was still musical, but now it held a cold note. Recent analysis has classified your species as incompatible with Concordat membership. What does that mean? Jin demanded. We have an agreement. It means, Telsec said, that you will be guests at a different facility, a research station where we can learn more about your unique biology. You mean prisoners? Hyejin said flatly. Telsec made that gesture that might have been a smile. Perspective is interesting. You see, from our view, Earth doesn't raise prey. It breeds predators, and predators cannot be allowed to roam free among the civilized species of the galaxy. The security drones moved forward, herding the shocked humans toward a different section of the ship. As they walked, Hyejin caught Junho's eye and gave him a tiny nod. Their suspicions had been correct, but now they needed to act. The human delegation was split up and placed in separate rooms. The rooms looked comfortable, with soft beds and clean bathrooms, but the doors wouldn't open from the inside. They were cells, nicely decorated, but cells all the same. Colonel Hyejin, Kang paced her room like a caged tiger. She had been separated from her security team. They had taken her weapons and communication devices, but they had missed the small device hidden in the heel of her boot. A simple tool Junho had made for her after they began to suspect the Arivians' true motives. From the markings on the walls and the feeling of movement, Hyejin guessed they were on a different part of the ship now. She put her ear to the wall and heard faint sounds from the next room. Tapping lightly, she sent a simple code, one they had all memorized during their quiet planning sessions. Tap, tap. Pause. Tap. A moment later, a reply came. Tap, tap, tap. It was Junho. Good. She needed his brain right now. Using the small tool, Hyejin began working on the wall panel near the floor. The Arivian technology was advanced, but it followed logical patterns. After 20 minutes of careful work, she managed to loosen the panel enough to pull it aside. A small opening appeared, just big enough to pass something through. She couldn't see into the next room, but she whispered, Junho, can you hear me? Yes, came his quiet reply. Are you okay? Fine. The others? I've been tapping on the other wall. Yunha is on my other side. She thinks Taehyun is beyond her. We're trying to locate everyone. What's the situation? Hyejin asked. From what I can tell, we're headed to a research station orbiting a planet called Corvus. It's a secure facility where they study dangerous species. Hyejin felt cold anger rising inside her. So they planned this all along. I think so, Junho said. Ambassador Telsec came to see me earlier. He tried to explain their position. What did he say? That humanity represents an unprecedented danger to galactic stability. He said their simulations predict that within 3 centuries, humans would dominate the Concordat completely if allowed to join. Hyejin almost laughed. Because we evolved as predators? Partly that, Junho said. But it's more. They've been watching our broadcasts for decades. They've seen our wars, our competitiveness, but they've also seen how quickly we advance technologically. He said that combination terrifies them. What about Earth? Hyejin asked, suddenly worried. Junho was quiet for a moment. That's the worst part. Yunha recorded a conversation between Telsec and the ship's captain. They've begun something called atmospheric seeding around Earth. It's a slow terraforming process. Over several generations, it will make Earth perfect for Arivians and deadly for humans. Hyejin's hands clenched into fists. We need to warn home. And we need to escape, Junho added. I've been studying the ship's systems through the computer terminal in my room. There's a small flaw in their security protocols. They never expected anyone to try hacking their systems from inside. Can you exploit it? I think so. If I can access the main system, I might be able to open all our doors at once. But then what? We're 20 humans on a ship with hundreds of Arivians. Hyejin thought for a moment. The shuttle bay. If we can reach a shuttle, we might be able to send a message back to Earth, even if we can't get there ourselves. The shuttles will be guarded, Junho warned. Leave that to me and my team, Hyejin said. You focus on the doors. Over the next hours, they worked out a plan, communicating through the wall opening. Using the materials from their rooms, bedsheets, clothing, pieces of furniture, they fashioned simple tools and weapons. Hyejin showed the others how to make improvised clubs and shields. The mistake they made, she told Junho as they finalized their plan, was thinking that being predators makes us mindless killers. They don't understand that being a predator means being patient, being clever, and knowing when to strike. Ambassador Telsek stood on the Harmony's bridge, reviewing data on the human prisoners. Their vital signs were being monitored constantly. Most showed elevated stress levels, expected for captives. But what troubled Telsek was that several of them, especially the security officers, were showing unusual calm. "They're planning something," he told the ship's captain. "Impossible," the captain replied. "The containment rooms are secure. We've removed all their technology." "You don't understand humans yet," Telsek said. "Their historical records are full of prisoners escaping from supposedly secure facilities. They're incredibly resourceful, especially under pressure. What do you suggest? Move up our arrival time at Corvus, and double the guards on the human section." In his room, Junho sat cross-legged on the floor with the room's computer terminal in pieces around him. He had dismantled it and rewired key components using the conductive materials from his belt buckle and watch. The Arivian computers were organic technology, partly living tissue, partly mechanical. It had taken him days to understand even the basics, but now he was ready. "Connection established," he whispered to himself as a holographic display flickered to life above his improvised device. Strange symbols flowed across the light field, but Junho had learned to read some of them. He navigated through the ship's systems, careful to avoid setting off security alerts. Finally, he found what he was looking for: the door control protocols. At the same time, Hyejin had been working on creating a diversion. Using chemicals from the bathroom cleaning supplies and materials from the room's furniture, she had made several small smoke devices. Nothing that would cause serious harm, but enough to create confusion. "Ready?" she whispered through the wall opening. "On my mark," Junho replied. 3, 2, 1. He activated the command. Throughout the human section, door locks clicked open simultaneously. At the same time, Hyejin slid her smoke devices under her door into the hallway. The corridor outside filled with thick white smoke. Alarms began to sound throughout the ship. The humans burst from their rooms, moving through the smoke with the improvised weapons Hyejin had taught them to make. Arivian guards rushed to the area, but the smoke confused them. Their large eyes, evolved for detecting movement at great distances, were poor at seeing through the thick haze. The humans, used to fighting in challenging conditions, had less trouble. "This way!" Hyejin shouted, leading the group toward what Junho's ship schematics had shown as the quickest route to the shuttle bay. Ambassador Jinhana ran alongside Hyejin, her diplomatic calm replaced by anger. "They betrayed us," she said. "All their talk of peace and cooperation, lies." "Stay focused," Hyejin told her. "We need to reach a shuttle." They encountered resistance, Arivian security drones and guards trying to block their path. But Hyejin's team moved with military precision, protecting the scientists and diplomats in the center of their formation. What surprised the Arivians most was the humans' speed and strength. The guards were taller than humans but much weaker. Evolved from prey animals that survived by fleeing rather than fighting, they lacked the muscle density and aggressive instincts of the Earth predators. The humans fought their way through 3 security checkpoints. At each one, Junho used his knowledge of the ship's systems to override doors or disable security measures. Finally, they reached the shuttle bay. There, Hyejin pointed to a small shuttle docked in a maintenance bay. "That's our best chance." But between them and the shuttle stood Ambassador Telsek and a squad of security drones. The Arivians' usually calm face showed what Hyejin now recognized as fear. "Please stop this violence," Telsek said. "You're only proving our assessment correct." "We're defending ourselves," Hyejin replied. "After you betrayed us and planned to attack our homeworld." "Not attack," Telsek corrected. "Quarantine. Your species is too dangerous to be allowed free access to the stars. Surely you can understand. You've seen your own history. Wars, genocides, constant competition and violence. We've also created art, music, literature, said Jin, stepping forward. We've developed medicines, improved the lives of our people. We've learned from our mistakes. Perhaps, Telsek conceded. But the risk is too great. The simulation models predict a 93% probability that within 3 centuries, humans would dominate the Concordat completely. Because we're predators? Junho asked. Because you're apex predators with space travel, Telsek said. It's a combination we've encountered before. The results were catastrophic. A tense silence fell over the shuttle bay. Then Hyejin stepped forward. You've misjudged us, she said. Yes, we evolved as predators. Yes, we can be violent when threatened. But what you don't understand is that predators also protect their territories, their families, their packs. We don't want to conquer your Concordat. We just want our place in it, as equals, not as specimens to be studied or planets to be terraformed. It's too late for that, Telsek said. The containment protocols have already begun. I am truly sorry. He raised his hand and the security drones moved forward. But at that moment the ship shuddered violently. Emergency lights flashed and a new alarm sounded. What's happening? Telsek demanded into his communication device. The answer made his large eyes widen in shock. He looked at the humans with new fear. The shuttle bay was frozen in a moment of tension. Ambassador Telsek stared at the humans, his large eyes blinking rapidly. The security drones hovered in place, waiting for commands. On the main screen, Captain Do-hyun Kim's face looked out from the bridge of the Vigilant. How is this possible? Telsek asked again. Your ship shouldn't have been able to follow us through fold space. We had help, Do-hyun said from the screen. His voice was calm but firm. Release our people now. Hyejin used the distraction to signal her team. They moved quickly, surrounding the security drones. With coordinated strikes using their improvised weapons, they disabled 3 drones before the Arivians could react. Telsek backed away, his hands raised. Stop! You don't understand what you're doing. We understand perfectly, Hyejin said, advancing on him. You plan to imprison us and transform our planet. For the greater good, Telsek insisted. One predator species cannot be allowed to endanger thousands of peaceful worlds. On the bridge of the Vigilant, Do-hyun watched the scene through the video link. Commander Sunwoo Lee stood beside him. Their shields are down, Sunwoo reported. We have weapon lock on their engine systems. Hold fire, Do-hyun ordered. Let's see if our people can resolve this without more violence. The Vigilant's presence was a miracle of human ingenuity and preparation. After the delegation had left Earth, Do-hyun had insisted on developing countermeasures against Arivian technology. Earth's best scientists had worked day and night, studying the limited data they had. When communications with the delegation stopped, Do-hyun had activated an experimental device, a fold space tracker that could follow the unique energy signature of the Arivian ship through what the aliens thought was untraceable space. In the shuttle bay, Junho stepped forward. During their captivity, he had learned more about the Arivians than they realized. He understood now why they feared humans so much. Ambassador Telsek, he said. We know about the Zorians. Telsek froze. The name clearly shocked him. How could you possibly? Your database had fragments, heavily encrypted, but I found them, Junho explained. The Zorians were another predator species, weren't they? They joined your Concordat 300 years ago. Telsek's color faded slightly, a sign of stress in Arivians. The Zorian incident is classified information. But it's why you fear us, Junho pressed. What happened? Did they try to take over? After a long pause, Telsek seemed to reach a decision. The Zorians were like you, evolved as apex predators on a harsh world. We believed they could adapt to our peaceful ways. We were wrong. They attacked you? Jin asked. No, Telsek said. That would have been simple to deal with. Instead, they changed us. Slowly. They introduced competition into our cooperative systems. They militarized our research. Within 50 years, 3 peaceful species had gone extinct in resource wars engineered by Zorian policies. It took us another century to undo the damage. So you decided all predator species are too dangerous, Hyejin concluded. The Concordat Council passed the Predator Containment Protocol, Telsec confirmed. Any species with predator evolutionary traits that achieve space travel must be contained before they can spread. And what happened to the Zorians? Junho asked. Telsec looked away. Their containment was complete. The humans exchanged glances. The meaning was clear. The Zorians had been eliminated. That's why you planned to transform Earth slowly, Hyejin said. You didn't want to kill us directly. We are not murderers, Telsec said with sudden passion. The atmospheric seeding would have taken generations. Humans would have gradually migrated to space habitats as Earth became less comfortable. Eventually, your connection to your homeworld would fade. It is the most humane solution our scientists could devise. Do-hyun's voice came from the screen. Humane? You plan to steal our planet while pretending to be our friends. To save countless lives across the galaxy, Telsec insisted. Jin stepped forward. In the chaos of escape, her diplomatic uniform was torn and dirty, but she still carried herself with dignity. You judged us by our evolutionary past, not by our potential, she said. Yes, humans evolved as predators. Yes, we have a history of conflict. But we also have something your Zorians may have lacked. What's that? Telsec asked. The capacity to recognize our own flaws, Jin said. Each generation of humans has worked to be better than the last. We've created art that moves the soul, philosophy that questions our own nature, science that heals rather than harms. Pretty words, Telsec said. The Zorians spoke pretty words too. Junho had been quiet, thinking. Now he looked up with sudden understanding. You're prey animals, he said. All of you. Your instinct when faced with a predator is to run or hide, but there's something you haven't considered. What? Predators don't just kill, they maintain balance, Junho explained. On Earth, when predators are removed from an ecosystem, prey animals multiply unchecked. They consume all available resources, then starve. The system collapses. What are you suggesting? Telsec asked. That your Concordat needs predators, Junho said. Not to hunt you, but to challenge you, to prevent stagnation, to ask the hard questions prey animals avoid out of fear. On the bridge of the Vigilant, Do-hyun watched the exchange with growing hope. This was diplomacy happening in real time. Not the formal meetings and prepared speeches, but the raw, honest confrontation of different worldviews. Ambassador Jin, he called through the link. What do you recommend? Jin looked at Telsec. I recommend we give the Concordat a choice. They can continue their policy of containing predator species, starting a war they might not win. Or they can try something new, true cooperation between predator and prey. Telsec seemed conflicted. The council would never agree. They might, Junho said, if we prove we're different from the Zorians, if we show we can be predators who protect rather than simply kill. How would you prove such a thing? Telsec asked. Hyejin stepped forward. Call off your containment. Fleet around Earth. Allow our delegation to return home safely. In exchange, we'll share what we've learned about your fold space technology. You can't replicate that, Telsec said. Hyejin smiled. Then how did the Vigilant follow you here? We reverse-engineered elements of your technology from the data you freely shared during our diplomatic exchange. We don't have your biological components, so our version is crude, but it works. Telsec's eyes widened in shock. That should have been impossible. Humans specialize in doing the impossible, Do-hyun said from the screen. It's what predators do. We find ways to survive, to adapt, to overcome challenges. Telsec was silent for a long moment, his inner eyelids flicking rapidly, a sign of deep thought among Arivians. Finally, he spoke. I will contact the High Council, he said. This situation is unprecedented. While Telsec conferred with his superiors, the humans gathered in a corner of the shuttle bay. Jin looked at the faces of her team, tired, bruised but unbroken. No matter what happens, she told them, you've all shown extraordinary courage. Earth would be proud. Earth might never know what happened here, Hyejin pointed out. If they decide to eliminate us anyway. They won't, Junho said confidently. They're afraid of us, yes, but fear can be the beginning of respect. After what seemed like hours, Telsek returned. His posture was different, less certain, more cautious. The High Council has authorized me to negotiate, he said. Your proposal has merit, although many counselors argue it is too dangerous. All great changes involve risk, Jin said. But consider the alternative. If you move against Earth now, knowing what you know about us, can you be certain of success? And even if you won, what would it cost you? Telsek made a gesture of acknowledgement. The simulations suggest a conflict with Earth would result in severe damage to both sides. Then let's choose a better path, Jin said. One where predator and prey work together, each contributing their evolutionary strengths to create something truly new. The negotiations lasted for days. Captain Do-hyun brought the Vigilant alongside the Harmony, and the two ships traveled back toward Earth together. The Aravian containment fleet withdrew to a safe distance, still watchful, but no longer threatening. They finally reached Earth. The news of what had happened shocked the world. Some humans called for immediate military buildup, for revenge against the Aravian betrayal. Others saw an opportunity for a truly equal relationship with the galaxy. In the end, Earth's governments chose a middle path. They would join the Concordat, but on new terms, as equals, not as subjects to be studied or controlled. A joint Earth-Aravian research team would study the atmospheric seeding particles and neutralize them. 1 year later, Ambassador Jin stood before the Concordat Council. Again. This time, she was there as Earth's official representative, the first predator species to join as a full member. Earth doesn't just raise predators, she told the assembled representatives of 27 worlds. It raises protectors. We offer you our strength, our determination, our drive to overcome challenges. In return, we ask for your wisdom, your cooperation, your different perspective on the universe. Telsek, now the liaison between Earth and the Concordat, translated her words into the musical language of the High Council. There was murmuring among the representatives, but also a new sound, one that Junho, sitting nearby,